Welcome to the Don Pod, the supporters podcast. Here's your hosts, Sam and Nate.
3, 2, 1, yeah.
Of all the places I could have been born, of all the sports I could have followed, of all the teams I could have supported, I ended up in Australia, Victoria, and going for this mob.
I was wondering where that was going.
Welcome back to the Don Pod. Yep. Hi, Nathan.
That's it. Oh, wow. I think we're in different emotional states at the moment. Hi, Sam. How are you? And welcome to everyone.
I'm in a strange place.
I'm
And not really. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that the sicko in you?
Probably. It's the bit of the sicko in me. It's also the fact that now we're not playing for finals, so that's something
It's out
that
of
we
the
don't
question.
I did deal with that.
I did the ladder predictor last night to see how low we could finish,
Yes, I like that.
rather than how high we could finish.
I'm all for how low we can go. How low we can go.
Essendon 12 goals 14-86 defeated by Gold Coast in Melbourne. Their first win away from home. Damien Hardwick's first win at Marvel in forever. 13-9-87. A goal after the siren to enemy number one on the night, McAndrew. Gives them victory. Interestingly, the last three games that have been decided by a kick after the siren. 2022, Jamie Elliott versus Essendon. 2023, Dan Houston versus Essendon. 2024, McAndrew versus Essendon.
Oh, you've brought the stats.
How
You've
good.
brought the data, haven't you, this week?
How good. Yeah. I mean, good luck with this if you're listening. Draper and Katie kick 3 each. Stringer, Roberts, Menzies, Jones, Durham, Caldwell kick 1. I think it'd be more prudent to go through who kicked behinds in the last quarter. But anyway, Martin has 36 disposals, Merritt 32, and Redmond and Parrish 27 each.
Beautiful, Sam.
Now, first time in a long time I was there. I haven't been for a little while. You were watching it at home. Obviously, I was in your seats. They were good seats.
Yeah,
Thank you for that.
No, yeah.
I got a posse of the footy early from the warm-up. That was the highlight of my night. Actually, there was a few highlights that were completely not football related, to be honest.
Did you meet a girl?
No. How old are you? You know me. Never.
You don't talk to girls in public? No way.
No, not even.
What generation?
I don't talk to
know what
girls.
happened.
Doesn't matter about public. This was, I think, one of those things where you had to be there. I'll say that off the cuff, but there was a throw-in in Gold Coast forward pocket, and Sexton, I think it was just completely free at the top of the 50. And there's this guy, I don't know if he was on level 2 or if he's just up behind us, but just screaming, "Who's on number 5? Get on number 5!" Ah! But you could hear his voice was going. Like, it was seriously dying as he went on. And right at the end, he squeaked. He went, "Key on number 5?" He did the voice goes too thin and it just squeaked. And the whole section had a little giggle at him. It was like Mickey Mouse. Oh! It was great. So funny.
Did Sexton get the ball?
No, he didn't. Like, he did kick a goal, I believe, but it wasn't Sexton.
Would have been more annoying if Sexton got the ball.
Funnier, honestly. Look, I don't really know where to start. I think, particularly last quarter, we kicked 1 goal 9. Obviously.
1 goal, that's probably the point to start at.
Well, we had 19 inside 50s in the last quarter to their 8. We kicked 1 goal 9, they kicked 2 goals straight. There's the ball game.
And we lose it by a point.
And we lose it by a point, yeah. Ironically, we didn't kick enough points. If we kicked 2 more points, we would have been right.
We didn't get that
We didn't get the handy point this week.
the handy point, yeah.
I set it up last week, though. I called last week's pod Sometimes Maybe Good. This week's called Sometimes Maybe Shit. Perfect. Thank you, Essendon.
Yep.
And I had it in my head, the podcast, the Draper gunshot celebration.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to have him shooting 2024, our season, but I haven't got the skills for that. I couldn't figure out how to do the text.
He could be just shooting Jake with his 3 misses in that last.
That's a bit violent.
Yeah, but a bit rough. Yeah, a bit wrong.
Could be shooting me, honestly. Put me out of my misery.
Yeah, that would have worked. Shooting both of us.
Um,
Should we talk about the game?
we better.
You were at it. What were your thoughts?
Hang on, I need to cough. Excuse me. It was weird. It felt like most of the night it was sort of 2 goals either way. We would kick 2 goals, they'd kick 2 goals. We'd kick 2 goals, they'd kick 2 goals.
Yep.
And when we were on top, we looked better than what they did. Completely. We had way more flow and way more run, but they were able to stick around. And I think you messaged me maybe 3/4 time or half time saying we're not playing poorly.
No.
It's just
We're having moments of poorness.
Yeah. What's really frustrating to me, other than the 9 behinds, which I'm sure we'll talk in more detail, and I'm going to name names. Sorry.
Yep, name names.
Jai Menzie is not AFL level. He cost us like 3 or 4 goals just from fumbling. Sorry, 3 or 4 shots at goal, I should say, just from fumbling.
There was one where he should have clearly gotten on his boot and he missed his foot nearly.
Yeah, just be clean. It's so, and they clean. Gold Coast were clean. You know,
he's got a bit of Nick Hind about him in that, you know how when Nick Hind gets the ball, his feet and his brain seem to be going faster than each other, like they're not at the same speed.
But my issue with Jai is he's not even getting the ball. He's not able to pick up the ball cleanly, and Pidge is shocking for it. Pidge won me back over with that chase down in the last quarter.
Yeah,
that was
brilliant.
Awesome.
Yeah, that tick.
But just be cleaner. And you see Matt Rowell killed us, and no double grabs. Just takes the ball first time, bang, gone.
The other thing I realised is that Ben Mackay is a much better footballer if he's only 60 metres out from our goal square. He took, in that last quarter, he took so many marks. He was just killing King. Like, he was seriously...
not in the D50.
I'm like, this is my theory, goes to my theory. Maybe he is a forward. Maybe that's where he likes to mark the ball.
Maybe there's just less pressure when he's not in front of goals. So it might be an issue at either end.
Yeah.
So just put him in the midfield. Might be a 200 centimetre midfielder. Yeah.
We'll get another 200 centimetre wingman. He was ordinary in patches again on the last night. But then in that last quarter, he shone. Like, he held down that, role. And as I said, I felt like we played good football, but we had patches where we just dropped and they punished us. And here's the sicko in me, in that I'm happy we didn't get flogged.
I thought that. Yep.
But we played good footy. Like, we kicked 1 goal 9. We had more inside 50s. Really, you talk about, I think last week you said, these are the games, certain games we should have won. This is that one.
Yeah,
we should have won this game. Yeah, we should have won this game. And the good thing about us losing is now that the media will leave us alone. Like, because I was getting real sick of the commentators even last night saying, Essendon are playing for finals. No, we
really weren't. Yeah,
we weren't. And I hate
that's their job. They've got to make it interesting.
But what happens is that they say it, then other media write about it, and then it becomes a whole thing for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, but I mean, it built the end of that game up to be huge, which is fair enough. That's what they're after. I can handle that. Yep. It is also why I go to the games. Usually, because I can't stand commentary. So I know you're really far away and it's not that simple for you. But there's 2 parts of me here. One is exactly what you've just said. It's that we played good footy. 1 goal 9. I mean, if you're generating 10 shots at goal in a quarter, you're clearly playing the better football.
Yeah.
But you give a team a chance to do what Gold Coast did, and you lose the game of football. And that's on us. And it was a great mark from Mac Andrew.
Oh, great.
Great finish under pressure. I know he swung at Archie, punched Archie, something. That's what caused the scuffle. And that's dog. You don't do that. And if he did punch him, then he'll get a week or 2, whatever. Yeah. But he was loving it. And I watched him come back to the Essendon Chiefs squad goal square because he was full forward.
In that third quarter?
It would have been third quarter. Yep. And he got a big boo and he got and he just came back smiling at him.
Yeah.
And I was
he kicked the first 2 goals.
I was like,
in that third quarter after the scuffle.
He didn't kick the first 2 because he only kicked 2 for the game. He must have kicked 1.
Oh, I felt like he kicked the next 2. I'll have to check that. But
he was absolutely loving it. That's my. Yeah. He kicked 4.
Oh, thank you, Nathan.
Probably only kicked 2.
Fair look on Sam's face.
Fair
there.
enough, Mac.
I'm pretty sure he kicked the next 2 in that start of the third quarter, and then he kicked the last one, and he kicked one before that. So
clearly, I've gone in to block it out.
Yeah, well, that's
stage.
understandable.
Yep.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what I love too. I'm a massive fan. New favorite player, Nick Bryan.
Yeah, yeah.
He he's been. I've read a few things on different websites, and that some people have like, nah, he's not up to it. He's not a stand, and they've never really seen him play. And I still think what he's been told last week was that right, the last 4 games are yours. Go out and do what you do.
Well, I will
Because
say,
I'm seeing a guy compared to that game he played, like mid-season,
which was against Gold Coast because it was against Moyle,
which was ordinary that game.
which
Whereas
we
this-
watched. Sorry,
Yeah.
we watched Goldstein get out-rucked by Moyle in the VFL yesterday.
Yeah, maybe Moore's better than what we. But he was. I just like that handball to Draper. Like,
Oh, that was so
Draper's,
clean. That was so nice.
Draper's goal was beauty, but that handball for a big ruckman just woof.
Just,
That was.
he picked it up a centimetre off the ground and bang.
Yep.
Yeah, I do love that.
Yeah, so big fan.
If nothing else, he's improved the trade that
Yeah,
we're
well,
going
that's
to
true.
get for
Yeah,
him.
if he does leave, we've got his first round
and
pick now.
I would have Witts as one of the top 3 or 4 ruckmen in the comp.
Agree.
Like, he's classy. He's their captain.
Yep.
Yeah, I have a lot of time.
But even last week against we nearly gave him votes last week against
Darcy,
against Fremantle, Darcy and Jackson. Like,
yeah.
he rocked really well against them too. So that's what I'm saying. Is that I think 2 weeks he's going to go up against Sydney and then Brisbane in the next. I hope they'll just keep playing him.
Well, Sydney, you've got Brody Grundy, so class
There's a
ruckman
great
there.
great
And
opportunity.
there's nothing wrong with Big O at Brisbane.
Question. Do you feel as though? I mean, we won't talk about Draper's misses, but Draper as a forward.
Well, I mean, he'd kicked 3 straight, so he kicked 3-2 in the end, so he missed his last 2 shots. But I loved it because he had 5 shots at goal, and this is working.
Having marks too,
and he had a great marking game. He had 5 marks. We lost that ability to sub Brian.
Yep,
I thought Hobbs was the wrong sub. Menzies or David Jr. for me every time. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't get that.
I don't get
Because I
Hobbs,
don't
but-
understand. So this is my problem I had with Hobbs being picked is that he has to play midfield because he's just not as useful, I don't think, as a half forward.
He did add a bit of grunt to the midfield. I actually said to my mate that I went with that the Cox sub might not harm us because we need a bit more grunt in the midfield. And then we got it, which was something.
I thought that he might have been playing on Rowell in that last quarter because he seemed to be really tackling. And I thought that's a great matchup act for him. Like, it's a great learning.
Yeah.
Like, go play on Rowell, just follow him around and learn how to play like him because that's the sort of football player we want to turn you into.
And Matt Rowell was probably best on, given they won.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Love Nick Bryan. Loved Archie Roberts' first goal.
Yeah.
That was nice. And that he made us work for it. It was only just snuck in. I thought at that point, there's a couple of times I thought we were going to run away with it. The Draper goal from the run through 50 from the Bryan handball, that was the second goal in a quick bang bang.
And then I reckon Stringer kicked another one somewhere around about there too that put us about 15 or something up. I thought, we might get a little run on here, but never did. They always fought back and kept it around that mark.
Which, fair enough to them. Our biggest lead was 12 points in the second quarter. Their biggest lead was 13 points in the first quarter. So very good game of football.
Yeah. And as I said,
for a neutral, anyway.
I don't know where to put them at the end of the year.
They can finish above us.
Well, it's their first win in 17 games or something like that, where they were beating us at Marvel or something like that.
Beating a team
at
away
Marvel,
from Gold Coast, even.
Yeah. I thought they were implying that they'd never beaten us at Marvel.
Oh, I don't think they would have.
Well, I think that's what the commentator said a few times. I'd try and block them out, to be honest.
I feel like I'd remember if they'd beaten us at Marvel.
But then statistically, that every time we beat them, it's more likely that they'll beat us because like that number drops, doesn't it? Of the chances that can go on. But I mean, I don't rate them as a great team or anything, but they're certainly a good opposition. They played well. Their forwards troubled us, McAndrew and King. I thought that, and Long was probably one of their real dominant forwards in that we didn't know what to do with him. We tried a few different things. Cox was getting beaten early playing on McAndrew. I like Nick Cox. I like Nick Cox as a footballer. I just don't know if he's a defender.
if that's the role. Yeah, it
Yeah.
is the first time they've beaten us outside of Gold Coast.
He obviously won't play next week, which I hope and pray to God's a great opportunity for our boy Hayes to come in.
Yeah, it's a good shout. Hayes was good, all right, in the VFL yesterday. So.
Yeah, we watched the VFL.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to see your players go off injured, but I don't think it was too critical to the outcome or to the structure or anything, which probably backs up your argument that I'm not sure that's where he needs to be playing. Did notice Martin was winger pretty much a lot of the game.
Yep.
Loved Harry Jones's game again.
Yeah. Yep. I think
he was in pain too. He was carrying a little niggle.
All right, well, the stat they had for him last night was since round, I think they said 16 or 17 when he's moved to the wing, he's kicked 6 goals. So that's pretty good for a winger, to kick nearly a goal a game. So
he does find himself in defence so often. There was that one where
I wondered if he'd make a defender actually because of the way he sort of floats in and
I mean, it's different kettle of fish though when you're actually playing on someone.
Course,
there was that one McAndrew got over the back where he kind of kicked it in from his knee to his toe and it just went through. Harry was the one chasing him back.
Yeah.
So I was like, at least
that thing, but the thing about McAndrew too is that I reckon early this year or maybe even late last year, I don't know if I said to you, but he was one player. If I was targeting a young kid, I'd go for him because he's got so many attributes.
Look, take the fight and the Scraggin out of it, just purely to football. Wow, like the mark he took was huge. It was a massive pack, pressure's on, huge grab. But it's like Caddy. He's so lanky and just long. He's tall anyway, but then the arms are long as well.
Yep. But he started his career as a defender, and was pretty good at that. I thought
ruck forward.
Yeah, now he's a ruck forward, which is one of the most valuable roles, I think.
Yeah. I have a lot of time for these guys that can take that sort of vibe from the crowd. Like he was getting booed every time he got the ball and copping it from.
Well, that's like your Ginovans and stuff.
Yeah,
like that,
but he just came back and smiled, and it was just like fair enough. All right,
and he kicked a goal. Maybe we should stop booing. That hasn't worked for us.
I said to Jay, like my mate,
we all get together and not boo anyone because it doesn't seem to work for us. Ginovan was the last one I remember.
He's loving this. He's seriously loving this, and like I said, fair enough to him. That's fine. All right, that'll just about do us, will it?
Yeah, no. Well, going forward,
I've got some hate. I've got some hate to dish out. I've got some negatives.
Go.
Mason Redmond. 27 of the worst disposals you'll ever see. 17 uncontested and 0 tackles.
Can I jump in there? I saw some on a certain website again. I won't name it. Where they were giving votes, and a few of them were giving him 3 or 2, and I went, "How the fuck did they watch this? Like, am I seeing a different game? Like,
we don't use this website anymore.
No, but I'm like looking at it, and a few people go, "Is this a piss take?" Giving him votes. Like,
he gave Gold Coast a goal single handedly, kicked it straight to him, and they went and kicked a goal.
Yep.
But 0 tackles for a defender, I don't
know how that
understand how that happens. Like, bro.
You've got a guy. If he's got the ball, you should be tackling him at some stage for 4 quarters.
Stringer
he'd
12.
Make a great winger. Let's admit he'd make a great winger.
He'd make a great fucking winger in the VFL.
You'd make a great winger at Port Adelaide or Adelaide, to be honest.
Yeah, well. Stringer had 12 touches and went at 33%. Not good enough, Jake.
No, horrible.
After last week. Langford's shit. I don't know what's happened to him. Anzac Day ruined him.
Well, there were some moments he was all right.
But he looks far more comfortable when he's thrown back in defence. The best plays he had in the air, anything where when
as a forward, he's horrible at the moment. Yep. Yes, he's something has broken. You're right about that.
And I just think
his form has just gone so back. Like,
if we're being consistent, Pete's kicked 5 goals or 6 goals in the last 2 weeks in the VFL.
Yep. Yeah.
Maybe it's Kyle. Sorry, you need to go back and do what Pete did. Kick 3 or 4 goals in a game of VFL.
Mm-hmm.
Get your confidence back in the air. I'm sure it's confidence. I know he's talented. We know that.
You can't lose talent. You just don't. That just doesn't turn off.
You need to just find some form, champ. I had some nuffies around us giving Davey Jr. a hard time, so I just wanted to highlight that he had 20 pressure acts.
Yeah, I still like what he like. There's a football player in there. He's still a young kid. If you compare him to someone like Watson, would be a fair comparison. I reckon he would be would be able to kick. If he played 20 games in the season, he'd be able to kick 20 goals. Like he'd be the guy that could just sneak a goal a game, not do a lot else at the moment, but I think that's what you would be looking for. Get him to 50 to 75 games. And then all of a sudden, I think you'd find a real kid that would flourish and, really dominate. That speed, you can't catch him.
He's quick. He just flashes in. And
yeah.
I admit he didn't have a lot of footy. He didn't even have a lot of tackles, like as a stat, but he was just there. And I know it's not, you can't build a career off this, but if you're in the team and that's what you're doing, well, all right. If you're still doing that at 50 or 60 games, then we'll have a conversation.
Exactly, 100%. You've got to get to that game to see what's in there. And I still think small forwards aren't expected to get 20 touches a game. Like
no, God, no. And I mean, Nick
you have
Watson's...
a look at Menzies and Gresham. Their numbers were atrocious. Like Gresham, again, is another one I'll throw in that category. I don't know what he's doing. He's since his grandfather or whatever passed, or grandparent or something passed, that he has just been atrocious as a football player, and you'd wonder why he's still getting the game.
Yeah, and honestly, the push out and kick, he kicked a goal. There's a lot of people going, why?
Yeah, that was a push.
Straight up free kick, and it should have been 50.
In the
I
back.
don't know why they didn't get 50 for that, to be honest.
Quick conversation about the umpires?
Well, I want to preface this with just one thing. Jai Caldwell kicked a miraculous goal that turned so much Nathan Lyon would be proud of it.
Yep.
Immediately before that, should have been holding the ball. Like plain as day. You can't even little bit argue that was holding the ball. And I reckon if we got the free kick, we could have missed that. So I just want to point out that sometimes
sometimes it works.
Missing a free kick can actually have a positive effect. Like this is what we talk about. It's not they don't change the game.
Yeah.
A decision in the last 3 seconds that's wrong obviously can, but throughout the course of a match, they just don't have an impact. But the holding the balls were frustrating. We had a lot that we thought should have been holding the ball. That one is clear cut. The others I would need to see again, and I'm obviously not watching the replay.
No, I think there were a few I saw that were holding the ball, and we've talked about this other weeks. They're calling them, and this, and then some weeks they're not, and it's hard to know which week you're on.
Matty Rowell got spun 4 times and then handballed it.
Yep,
fair enough. He handballed it, but
he was guilty though a few times of being caught.
Yeah.
Because he kept moving.
Bro had 7 years to get rid of it.
Yeah,
and then we seem to get pinged for the same things, but that's where it gets frustrating. Is that we're tackling them, they're tackling us. They get the free kicks, we don't. And that's where the frustration comes from. But we were plus 8 free kicks, which felt strange when I saw that stat pop up. Okay. Great goal from Jai, just quietly. We had a couple of good goals in our last 2 losses.
Oh yeah, that was an absolute snorter.
Rip snorter. I'll do some match stats then, shall I?
Yep.
I forgot the match day post again. I had no excuse yesterday.
I mean, it does, because you're the only one that does it. So I'm not angry at you or anything because I don't even do it. Just disappointed.
No, well,
I'm not on Facebook. I don't have the book of faces.
Peter messaged me again, so he gets the votes this week. If you want to do the votes and I forget the post, just message the page on Facebook first.
Love your work, Pete.
So plus 31 disposals, plus 17 kicks, plus 14 handballs, all good, minus 14 contested. It's a theme. We have more uncontested ball than anyone else, but we never win the contested ball.
Yeah.
Plus 11 inside 50s, plus 8 free kicks. I had that there as a note to talk about the umpires, which we just did. Minus 13 hit-outs, which I don't mind. We were equal on clearances, but plus 7 at centre, minus 7 at stoppage. So this stoppage clearances is becoming an issue again.
Fascinating.
We seem to have it down pat early in the season, and now we don't. And we thought Setterfield was the saviour, then he came in and it didn't fix it. So, God knows.
What do you think of Shields' game?
I thought he was fine. There was he had a nice clean collect in the last quarter that was a beautiful pickup. Not sure if it probably led to a point, not a goal.
It was a little bit quiet for my likings. In that, I agree. He had some. I guess the thing is, when he gets the ball, he's pretty good. I just would like him to be getting the ball a bit more. Like
he had 24 touches.
Oh, okay. We should have looked at the data. It didn't feel like he had a lot.
That's all right. And vibe is sometimes important in this scenario. But the vibe I got at the game was he had a lot of the footy. So, plus 12 marks and plus 2 marks inside 50.
Well, that's
and
good.
plus 11 tackles inside 50, which I really like.
Yeah, they're good. That's good numbers. And again, the positives out of this. We're playing a couple of younger kids, Brian and Archie Roberts.
And Caddy was fucking brilliant.
Caddy was very, very... He's such a superstar.
Bro needs to stop running under the ball. There was one
Bro
where
does
he ran about 2 metres under it. I'm like, Jesus, cats.
But he is superstar.
Yeah.
And if I could just jump on a different topic
Sure,
there, it does make me want to pick that Joe Shanahan who we watched in the VFL.
Whoa. Wow. Well, we're going to talk VFL, so maybe we can leave
Yeah,
that
all right, save it for then.
But yes, totally agree.
Oh, no, I can't remember. I was just going to talk about Joe Shanahan in my
talk up
mind.
Joe, yeah.
It's gone. Got a little semi.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. You're talking.
Hmm?
Oh, I was wondering how we resolve these clearances in that. How can we? And I understand personally from what I see in clearances. Okay, when we're doing centre bounce, we ruckman and there's 3 midfielders, so there's a bit of structure around that.
Can I just add something to that quickly?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, go.
There was a real deliberate setup that I've never noticed before in our forward 50. Now, this was a period of sort of 10 minutes that I was watching it, so it's not reflective of the whole game or anything. But
Because it was the good seats, you had the better view.
Marvel, I'd honestly rather be higher up, but anyway, let's not get into it. Our centre half forward rotated heavily, so there was a setup. There was a centre bounce setup that involved Durham being at centre half forward and running in. Caddy being at centre half forward and not running in. Like there was a deliberate
plan. So when
for
Durham
how,
was there, he would bolt in. When Caddy was there, he would bolt back. Do you mean
not bolt back? Caddy would just sort of stay there, I guess, for the short kick.
Yep.
But there was a very deliberate strategy there to set up in a way where we'd either get an extra midfielder or we wouldn't get an extra midfielder, which I just thought was fascinating. And I like having the different options. Centre clearance isn't our issue.
No, and that's what goes to my point in that once it becomes a stoppage clearance, and what I always see is that, and especially in this game, there was a few times where they just had players out. Like once that contest happens and they won it, which they were doing with Rao, their spread or their positioning was so much better than ours. We were chasing them, and we were either not at the player that had the ball or not at the player that was getting the ball. You know, our players were in the middle. We see this a lot in our games where they either don't go up or they don't go back, you know. And there were a few defenders too, where you either impact the ball and clear it, or you stay down. And another frustration I saw too was that sometimes our defenders, we don't have a defender that stays at the back or stays at the front. And the ball would go over the back, and the Gold Coast player was getting it. And luckily, I don't think they scored from them, but it's just a frustration. I think I think that's where I get a little bit frustrated with our stoppages. We can't.
It's entirely the setup. I can't articulate what it is or how to fix it, and if I could, then I'd probably be a coach.
We'd
not
bring
a
it, write a letter.
But they seem to set up where like we're happy to leave opposition players on one side, on the defensive side, free.
Yeah.
But that just makes it easy for them. And then you're right, the spread, once they get it, it's almost like we go, well, they can get it, but we're going to close the space. But then they don't. They just spread and they're gone.
Well, and when they get it too, their forwards are sprinting forward towards the goals, and that's leaving a big open space where they're kicking it in. And they're turning around. Like there was an example where I think Mac Andrew, might have been, not sure, he turned and led back into that open space, and we just couldn't deal with it.
It's particularly bad, I think, in our forward 50. Because there's, what are you trying to do when the ball goes into your forward 50? Take a mark and score, or get the ball on the ground and create a stoppage. Right, that's the two main options. We don't set up to keep the ball in there. I struggle to articulate it, but they seem to have guys free on the defensive side, which is fair enough. They probably would have more numbers.
Yep.
But they just always seem to get it on the defensive side, on the goal side of the stoppage, and then they've got 17 blokes there that they can handle and run out.
But in saying that, in the last quarter, for that, first 15 minutes of it, we locked it in our forward 50 for quite a bit of that, like by setting up really well and not letting it get over the back. I think it did get over the back once, maybe.
It's like everything else, though. Then it's just we do
It's
it for
not-
a bit and then don't do it again.
Exactly,
But-
yeah.
I mean, if the ball
Like the
was
Freo
going,
game where we played that good footy for 10 minutes, yeah.
yeah. If it's stoppage in your forward 50, then there's no clearances there. That's probably stopping that stat because the clearance is the first possession in a chain of getting away. Like I don't know how to describe it, but
I also think as defenders still in those examples, and I really think what's his name? Redmond's a real guilty one of this, and so is Laverde. They get too far up the ground.
I was looking for that last night, and it wasn't as prevalent.
Good.
I think there was one
I just
time
want a goalkeeper. I want someone who they say, no, you don't leave the 50.
we had a goalkeeper, like a genuine goalkeeper who I think Mackay took a mark like a metre out. And me and my mate both looked at each other and went, we had a goalkeeper. We never have a goalkeeper. What the hell? Expected that just to bounce through.
Well, I reckon one when there was a stoppage in their 50 and Mackay had sucked up into the contest and it just went over his head.
The back six, honestly, the back six and the front six on their day can be okay. Back six has been pretty ordinary now for a month or 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And I know Pidge had that really great moment, that rundown chase tackle. That was brilliant. So much respect for that. But I noticed he handballed a lot more last night because we were joking every time he got the ball, like turning over, which might be deliberate. You know, he might have had a talking to.
Stop kicking it.
But he actually had a high disposal efficiency, but again, a lot of handballs.
I don't think last night was his worst game, but I don't then rate, he's played the last week before. That was very ordinary, so it's not like he shone last night.
Of our back six, our starting back six, Laverde had 4 tackles. That's the best.
Wow.
Pidge had 2. Kelly had 1. Redmond had 0. Ben Mackay had 0. Now, Mackay, I
I'll
think...
let that slide.
Maybe you can get 1 or 2, but his thing's more in the air.
Yeah, he should be spoiling a mark. He's his marks. You want to look at intercept marks and
but he's worrying about the key forward. Like, I can understand how he gets to that point, but
how many goals did Ben King kick?
3.
How many shots did he have?
3.
3 what? 3 straight or
just 3? Yep.
Well, it's not horrible.
Well, no. The problem for us became that we don't have that class second.
Yeah.
Now, I think Laverde played okay.
Yeah.
Really. He was pretty despondent after the game because it was his man that took the mark.
That's fair enough.
But I'm not blaming him.
Goals on him.
I know, but I'm not blaming him for that.
No. But it looked like he started on Long and Cox started on McAndrew, but that wasn't working. I reckon before Cox got injured, they swapped that anyway.
And Long didn't really have much of an info. He had a patch.
He was pretty good, actually.
He had a patch that was quite good, but I didn't think he had.
Every time he got the ball, he did something really useful. He probably didn't have a lot of the footy, but I felt like every time he got the ball, he nearly was. He would have added to a score. Like
he had 7 score involvements.
Yeah, that feels about right. Probably had 7 kicks.
Who are we talking about? Ben Long, 16 disposals. Yeah.
But it's that other tall, which is why I hope that Hayes comes in.
Yes, well, Cox out gives that an opportunity to happen.
Yep. I'd even take Wiedemann, to be honest. I thought he's been playing well in the VFL. I wouldn't mind seeing how that works. Hey?
I had a dream about Wiedemann last night. That's weird.
Sexual?
No. Nothing fun like that.
Players, that's some sad state.
Oh, yeah, and I reckon you mentioned him while we were watching the VFL yesterday, and I reckon that's just
stuck in your brain
somewhere. Stuck in my subconscious.
Sorry. I apologise.
No, that's all right. It's not the first time you've ruined experiences for me.
Oh, yeah.
It was a really strange one. Like I've been at, how I mentioned the last 3 kicks after the siren to win a game.
Yep.
I've been at all 3 of them.
Oh, you're the one.
I've had a lot of games of football. Let's be honest. But
yeah, that's true.
The Elliott one, the Elliott one, it was heartbreaking but amazing. The noise that came out of that ground was incredible, but it was heartbreaking. It was a real for fuck's sake, we could have beaten Collingwood.
Yeah.
The Port one was pretty heartbreaking as well, actually.
Probably a bit more
We
anger
played
in
a
that
really good game of footy against a good side, and yeah, it was a ripper kick from Houston though. But again, I could sit there and sort of go, good kick, fair enough.
Yeah.
This one I had no emotion.
Oh, really?
It was just like, okay.
I think we all felt like this. We knew this was coming.
There was a part of me that was like, I can't, like conspiracy theorists, like this game is rigged because it had to be Mac Andrew. That was the thing. I was like, it had to be him. The one that everyone's been booing, the enemy, the asshole of the night, ends up kicking a goal after the time. It did too sus for me. But we talk about this a lot. The sicko in me was like, oh well, we didn't get flogged. And again, we've talked about the whole, if we can just finish the season without getting belted, we'd actually be okay with the world. I'm with you that I'm happy that the finals is no longer a picture, no matter what. It's mathematically impossible now.
Yep, good. And then I hope that drives some selection things, and that might drive the Goldstein and Heppel issue to the forefront, because
Heppel isn't even playing VFL. Like, surely there's been a decision there that he's done. Surely. You're not too good to play VFL, champ. You're
right. I hadn't even thought of that. I didn't even think about that yesterday when we were watching it. I didn't even cross my mind. Oh yeah, Heppel's not out here. Why isn't he playing? Yeah. So that surely must mean he's been, and I think we talked about this the other day when we heard that Scott was asked the question about Heppel, and his response was, "Oh, we're letting him make that decision," and that would be the thing to say. You can't say, "Oh, he's not playing at the end of the year." Like you can't, as a coach, you can say, "No, well, he's off the list."
No, he's done. He's cooked.
Yeah. So you would say the political thing to say that would be to say, "Oh, well, we're letting Dyson make that decision."
Yeah. You're right. And equally, he hasn't said he's not playing, but he hasn't said he is either.
Yeah, that's so, and that's the key to it. I think is that he has. Oh, he's going around. We want him to go around next year.
Yeah, he's just said it's up to him.
Yeah, it's up to him. So that's the code for.
We probably think he's done. Yeah.
Which. No, I think it's sad that Dyson Heppel will finish, never winning a final. I don't think, will he?
Yeah, you're right. Job did somehow. Because Job won that.
I just feel a bit sorry for the poor bloke. Like he's gone through some shit.
I mean,
I wish that he'd gone to another club like this year that been successful, and he just got some success. And
maybe he could. Maybe he could go to a different club. He has value. I just don't. I think he needs to be. If he has value, really, it's in a better side than us.
Oh yeah. Like
I think that
like
might
a
be
Collingwood or something like that, where they could just, someone like him might be just useful to fill a hole.
Yeah, don't know. There's no. Yeah, we've talked about. There's no we're not hateful or anything. We're respectful of his time at the club, but sometimes you have to go. Would I rather see Dyson Heppel or Hayes play?
Yeah, or like
or Archie Roberts,
Archie Roberts or that Saad Al Hawi,
he was. I like him.
Yeah,
got a lot of
so
time
that's all I'm saying is that that there are kids coming up behind him that we will want to see in the next year or two, and next year we'll hopefully another kid will push through. So yeah, that's all, and I think he's 32 or whatever now, and. He hasn't probably played his best footy this year.
If him and Goldie go, it'll bring the average age right back down.
Oh, will we? Yeah, good numbers. Well, that would mean Merritt would be the oldest, or Stringer. I'm not
Stringer,
sure
Stringer's 30.
Stringer. Yeah, which is not like that's your oldest player.
Shall we do some votes?
Yes, go.
I forgot the post again, so Pete's messaged the page. Good on him.
Good on you, Pete.
Martin 3, Merritt 2, Draper 1, 2 weeks in a row, -3 Laverde. Fuck. Verbatim. There you go.
Really?
I need to write this in because I need to actually update the spreadsheet. We have a spreadsheet.
Do you want me to do mine then?
Yeah, you do that while I'm typing.
Well, I had Merritt and for 3, Martin for 2. I thought it was a really good game from Martin. I much prefer him on the wing. I understand why the experiment of the back has been there, but we just got to find another player that's a half back who can kick. That's what we have to do because he's just too valuable on the wing.
Hayes.
Yeah, and I gave 1 vote to Brian because I think I wanted to give him, I nearly gave him a vote last week, and I just loved it. I was going to give it to Draper, but with the 2 points at the end, I couldn't do it.
Number 1.
Like, fucking Jesus, come on, Draper. One of them, mate. One of them goes through, buddy.
I really did like Drapes' gunshot celebration. You know what that was in reference to? the Turkish Olympian.
The Olympian. Yeah.
Which Jordan Clark did the same celebration earlier that day. It was quite funny. Both teams lost.
I saw that. Yeah.
It's cursed.
Yeah, man, it's a losing thing.
I gave
second.
Well,
he came second. He got a silver.
He got a silver. Yeah, there you go.
So there you go. Anyone else? Don't do it.
Merit. I gave Merit 3. Sorry.
Yep.
Caddy 2.
Yeah,
and
nice.
that is a little bit biased from me, but I do
that's
like
fine.
Cads, and I thought that was a great game of footy.
Yeah.
And I gave Nick Bryan 1 again. Same reasons as you. Just I love it. I love using the side now, and I love that. Well, I hope that that's it for the rest of the last 2 games of the year. Let's just keep that. I would hate to see now any of. I don't think Caddy's going to get dropped, but Archie Roberts needs to stay in.
Yep.
Nick Bryan needs to stay in. Not only for the experience, but the Draper Bryan thing is working quite well.
Well, can I ask a question?
You may. Is this one?
I agree that the Draper and Bryan thing is working. Peter Wright.
As long as it's working, unless we can fit him in.
Does Peter Wright come back into that team?
Well, no, I don't think so. Not at this point. If Langford goes out, I reckon you could carry Pete and Drapes. Teams have 2 big tools like that. That's not an issue.
I'm not. I don't have the answer. I'm asking the question.
My concern would be the fact that they're both pretty not agile. I know for a ruckman, Draper is pretty decent as far as it goes, but if the ball's on the ground, they're doing nothing.
Would it be different if we had a small forward like an Eddie Betts type who,
or Nick Watson at
crumb?
This point.
Yeah, well, who can crumb, or Stengel, say, the more current player, who can crumb and kick, 30 to 40 goals a game as around underneath at the feet of those guys. Whereas at the moment we've got Menzies who...
Well, it was interesting. Last night we played Davey Jr. and Menzies, and I reckon that's the first time we played 2 smalls. I mean, I know we did last week, but Davey Jr. was
neither of them subbed. Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know. I think, yes, probably, but Pete's got to find his way back in through his own form and someone else's, injury or form. So,
because I agree with you that I'm loving Bryan in the ruck. I think he brings a real skill and polish to it, and then I love what Draper can when he gets thrown into the ruck. He brings a real enthusiasm and aggression, and and just a guy that I think you would love playing with. Like he would be the sort of guy you would just love playing with Drapes. Like he would just go out there heart and soul for you every week.
Yep, absolutely. On to next week and the VFL. So we play the Swans. Return to form for them just against the Pies there.
You didn't watch the game, but they were horrible. I watched a bit of the game. They were atrocious.
I got completely trolled by my scoring app. It told me it was full time and Collingwood won by 5 goals, and I woke up the next day very confused.
Your scoring app. You might need to just look at the AFL website.
I just hate the AFL app, that's all.
Yeah,
in the VFL, Essendon defeated Gold Coast by 2 goals, 91 to 79.
Give the scores, the proper...
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Almost foreshadowing. Gold Coast 11-13-79, defeated by Essendon 11-25.
11-25, people.
We've had 36...
Do you think that they need to do goal kicking practice at the training this week?
And we've had 36 shots at goal, and we haven't cracked a ton. And we were watching them trees behind the goals were not moving.
No movement.
No wind whatsoever.
No wind we could see.
They were just bad.
Bad.
Just bad.
That's bad. But you can all get the AFL and the VFL team together and everyone practice your kicking.
Sorry. So between the 2 teams, we have kicked 23 goals, 39.
23 goals, nearly 40. Wow. Oh, that's bad kicking. Bad kicking's bad football.
It is.
There's no other way to look at it.
It's been that way forever.
Yep.
In terms of player performances, Nick Hine led at the disposal count 29, Perkins 28, Sardis 25, Al Hawley 21, a bit of a culprit with the goal kicking, 1 goal 3.
Yep.
Tex Manganine had 20, Lenny Hayes had 15 and 8 marks. Davey 12 touches and 3 behinds. Get him in.
Did you say Perkins had 28?
Perkins was 28, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Wiedemann, 8 marks and 12 touches. Goldstein, 23 hit-outs. I mean, this is Nick Bryan was getting 40 a game. Vicentini, 10 touches and 2 points. Wright had 8 disposals but kicked 3 goals, 2 with 6 marks.
just have a look at Shanahan.
Well, I was getting to that. I was building because Job Shanahan is not an AFL listed player. That's why I was keeping that separate. Now, me and you have gone hard for this man in more ways than one.
Literally.
Job Shanahan, who Cal Toomey currently has a pick in the late 20s.
Yeah,
in his
mid to late
Phantom
20s. Yep.
10 disposals, 7 marks and 2 goals, 3. Nothing super extraordinary, but if you watched the game... Oof. He's huge. I mean, he's only like 194 or 195. He's not actually that tall. But
he's a good size.
For a 17-year-old, presumably, maybe 18 just, he is big.
And kicks the ball beautifully.
Talented.
Took a beautiful pack mark on the wing.
Yeah. So...
And I know we don't necessarily get him because he's played 2 games now VFL, but you would have to think that we're looking hard at him.
We've seen him and gone, okay.
Yeah, we'll be going,
I will draw
how
you
do we make this work?
Back to the point that we had Harley Reid play for our VFL team.
Yeah, but that was...
It was a one-off, I know, but it was a bit different. But
the fact that this kid's a pick, in the mid-20s, and he's played now 2 games, if he plays the 3rd and 4th with us, how many other games left in the VFL, I'm not sure. Then you go, well, it's definitely bigger than him.
It's actually really interesting how we can shape up for this draft period. Like, we should get our first pick. Well, pick 9 or 10, whatever we end up with.
Around there, yep.
Probably lower than that, actually, 8 or 7. We should get. And then we'll be able to use some points for Carco.
Yep.
Hopefully.
Yep.
But then if we can have that pick to get Shanahan, that'd be a pretty good pick, pretty good hand.
That'd be a pretty good draft from us.
Yeah.
Because we'd get 2 first-rounders.
I think there's a bit of luck involved with getting Shanahan, for sure. But...
you'd assume that some player leaves from our club and we get something back for them.
Well, I mean, that's a bigger conversation to have
but
season.
Most years somebody leaves.
Someone leaves. Yeah. But we'll be able to stack some points. Even if it takes trading a future 3rd round.
Yeah.
Like, we'll get the points. And
yeah, that's right.
These are smart people doing our list management, I hope so.
But if we can push if our first round pick is, say 8 or something like that, then you add 18 to 9 that, so it's 26. No, 18 and... yeah, 26. So that puts you our second round... yeah, our second round pick puts us somewhere around this kid. Now, I wouldn't want to be waiting that late because of, maybe...
if you're hard on him, you'd take him sooner. And
you try and get into that 20 to early to 20s and be chasing him.
You can do that with your keys, I think.
Yeah, key forwards and key backs. The other thing too, I like to know, I know we don't talk too much draft, but there's a early pick in that around that 7 or 8 that Cal had, who's described as Ridley-like, as a defender, who would be the other one I would be chasing because I think that's he's again 193, 4, something like that. But that's, we need small forwards, we need tall forwards, but we also need a defender, and I don't really care if he's small or tall, who's an elite defender, like elite kick,
Again, I'll make the point that Stephen May's 191 and was one of the best defenders in the competition.
Been doing his job pretty well
but he had good support in lever, so that's what you need. If you can get away with the shorter player if you have a really solid duo.
Yeah. And you'd like to think Mackay is not going to be atrocious forever.
No, I think he...
well, he had a good foil. If he had if Mackay became the second defender, then he would be elite.
Yeah. He is 26, nearly 27. So he's still coming into sort of peak. I'm trying to...
at peak, yeah.
Well, but taller players are a bit later, so his absolute peak's probably 27, 28, 29.
Yeah, so next year, if he is a bit of a...
yeah, then I'll jump on.
Yeah.
What's
been good about Mackay, at least this year, is he's played every game, I think, and he hasn't missed a game.
He hasn't missed a game.
Yeah. Whereas I think he missed a lot. Like, he only played 70-odd games at North in his 8 or 9 years there, so that's not very good.
Form aside, he's super important for us because
I agree.
we don't have a second string defender. Like, we get the shits with Laverde. So if he goes out, God help us.
Yeah. And next year, hopefully, Reid will pray to the gods of football again that he can sort himself out.
Reid, Hayes, there's options there. I'd support a full overhaul of our front and back 6, to be honest. I know it's not going to happen because Redmond's on a long-term deal, McGrath's on a long-term deal, but
Mackay would be on a long-term deal.
Well, I don't want to get rid of Mackay. That's
no, but that's 3 of the 6 not going anywhere.
I'm more.
Kelly's out of contract at the end of this year.
Yeah, I don't have as much issues with him, which is weird. He's kind of the one that's just fine. He doesn't do a lot wrong these days. Doesn't do a lot right, but he doesn't do a lot wrong.
But he's he defends at least. I think what we like about him is that he's usually near his man.
Usually within Cooey. Changes. So Cox will be out. We know that.
Yep. Hayes in for me.
I'm going to say Hayes in and leave it at that.
Well, that's a like for like.
You're not dropping anyone else. You're happy with that?
I don't. I don't know if Hobbs worked. To be honest, yeah. So, and I wouldn't necessarily then just say, Davey Jr., you go out.
Could you bring Sard in for someone?
Wow.
Now that goal he kicked, we should have mentioned this.
Beauty.
And he celebrated to the stand at Windy Hill and did the jumper thing. Way to endear yourself.
Do you let him play another game because he's come back from a pretty 5-6 week injury?
Maybe, but I think VFL have only got one game left.
Well, I'd let him play that. If he has a super game there, then he comes in for Brisbane.
Yeah, okay, I'll take that.
Because the game before he got injured, or the game he got injured in,
kicked four and had 20-something touches. He was in, and to come back in his first game, he kicked 1 goal, 3. So he's got the shots at goal.
And have 21 touches. That's not a bad return to form.
Seems pretty silky. I'd support him in this week, but I see your point. I think that's reasonable.
But I would support it too. I just think that now that the season is toast, the coaches hopefully look at this and go, okay, future. Let's think of it. We've got 2 games to have a look at some players. Nick Bryant's obviously been great. Let's keep that going. And Hayes would be the one you would think perfect opportunity. Cox out. Let's have a look at Hayes for 2 weeks. Beautiful.
We do seem to get our best players from the mid-season draft, so Sard's got a lot to live up to.
Definitely we do.
Durham, we haven't talked about Durham. Durham was pretty good last night, led the team for pressure acts.
I think he doesn't like Matt Rao.
No, that's fair. He
put in extra aggression, I felt, when he tackled him. He's like,
good. That's what you should do with guys like that. What is Matt Rao? Contested ball freak. So, fair enough. He flashed into a stoppage or aerial ball, and I didn't see him coming. He just bang, and he was there. Oh, fucking hell, mate, slow down. You hurt someone.
Yeah, no, he's...
All right, are we happy to wrap there?
Yeah,
all right.
Happy to wrap there. How long have we been?
54 minutes.
Yeah, it's pretty standard.
I was struggling at 20, so...
We always are.
We do.
And then we just say one thing, and next thing you know, another 30 minutes is gone.
Yep. All right. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate your company as usual. And I'm not going to say it this week. Thanks for listening.
Go Bombers. Why aren't we saying?
Because I'm sick of this football club. Go Bombers. Yay.